Welcome back to the Boys and Ball Pod. We have Mr. Boosie, who has gotten lost in the absolute sauce. So he is currently having to release the dragon, and we'll be back shortly. If you like the pod, hit the like button, subscribe. Let's go.
Shoo!
You
All
don't like
right.
it?
No, I like it. I like it. Let's get into it then. All right. The Jets stole a win over the Bills. Josh Allen got hurt, but what's going on over there? It's not
I
something
mean,
we thought, but we definitely thought that the Bills were gonna win this one. But somehow, the Jets just got a little frisky in it. I know it was a close game all game, and Josh Allen, got hurt and really wasn't playing all that well. But, he still ran for the ball a good bit, threw for like 200 yards, but, didn't throw any touchdowns, threw two picks. A lot of people thought that he was going to get that connection with Stephon Diggs and score a touchdown, but, through the
I,
air.
I think this just gets back to it's the sauce effect. Sauce
Yeah.
Gardner in man coverage this year has given up 4 catches for 24 yards.
Yeah.
The
Some of it's,
kid is a lockdown corner, gave Stephon Diggs trouble. Everyone said, oh, this is the matchup. He's going to give up a touchdown. Didn't happen.
and when Sauce did get a pick, though, it's not going to say, and it's
Yeah.
another thing for the kid's resume, you know. Just,
So, I mean, I think this really just comes down to is Sauce Gardner was able to make it, Josh Allen likes to get the ball to Stephon Diggs. It's one of the most elite matchups in the NFL where Josh Allen's going to target Stephon Diggs 10, 12 times a game. But when he's not able to get going and get, a lot of those yak yards, the yards after catch, the offense is going to be sluggish. I mean, and the Jets already blitz a lot, so Josh Allen's going to was pressured a lot that game, forced into a couple bad throws, and they were able to slow down that Bills offense enough to get the dub.
oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, one thing to look at, though, is, Stephon Diggs still had 95 yards, he on 5 receptions. So, like he was still doing work, but, I definitely think that injury,
Yeah, I mean,
definitely hurt.
he definitely still put in work, but it's not that production you expect in a close game.
Yeah.
Whenever you see the Bills playing in a close game, you go and you look at the stat sheet, and it's Stephon Diggs, 7 catches, 140 yards, and a touchdown.
Yeah.
And you just didn't see that this week.
Yeah. Talk about another offense that's, struggling pretty bad right now. The Chargers. They barely snuck out a win over the Falcons this week. They won a little 3-point victory. I know you had the Falcons in your pick'ems, but the Falcons let you
Yeah,
down.
it really came down to the Chargers have not been able to stop the run all year, and you look at that Falcons team. All they want to do is run the ball. They were able to run the ball for almost 200 yards. Had a really good day running the ball, but unfortunately, the passing game just wasn't there at all. Wasn't able to get going, and the Chargers were able to survive a very close game.
Yeah, I think one of the things for with the Chargers
Here's
is
the thing. I mean, Justin Herbert has been playing.
okay. First,
Jay Herbo's been playing well. Well, not really playing well. He's been playing a little bit below average, but he also really hasn't had any consistent wide receiver help because people have been hurt in that receiving core that he'd like to get the ball to.
oh
Yeah.
yeah, definitely. With Keenan Allen only coming back for one or two games, and Mike Williams still being out with his high ankle sprain, it's tough for him to find any consistency. And it's weird to see that Austin Eckler, whenever the two big boys are out, gets a majority of the targets. So they don't have that deep game like they have with Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. And I think
No, but they do have a consistent threat. You talked about Austin Eckler. This is a premier receiving back in the NFL. So when you don't have those great receivers, which is something you can really look at the Saints the past couple of years since Breeze has left, your receiving core has not been great. You have a premier receiving back, but you weren't getting him the ball. And this just shows if you use your receiving back in the right ways, he can be just as productive, if not more productive than a wide receiver, and he can still keep you in games. The Chargers are doing a great job of keeping him involved, getting him, involved in every aspect of that offense. taking advantage of the fact that he's a terrible matchup for most defenses, and you live off that, and you don't have to rely on Joshua Palmer, who has a chance to be a good receiver, but is not there yet.
Yeah. Especially since, I mean, Austin Eckler is, like good for like a couple like short runs, but he's not like a crazy bruising back. Like he's never gonna just, absolutely run someone over. He's a lot more like in space type of guy.
No,
So,
but if you do look at his, weightlifting goes into a lot and how guys can break tackles. He's one of the strongest running backs in the NFL. And when you look at what the kid can squat, what the kid can bench, he's over 500 on the squat. He's talking about, oh, me and Derrick Henry and Nick Chubb are going to get in the weight room this offseason to see who can lift the most. So like he's up there with those guys in lifting. You can see it when he's catching the ball. He's able to break a lot of arm tackles. You got to hit him with your body. You got to bring him down. You got to hit him low, because if you hit him high, or you just go for those arm tackles, he's breaking that tackle and he's getting extra yards.
So, another game we want to talk about last week is the Seahawks swept the Cards in their
Yeah.
series, which really sucks for the Cardinals. It kind of keeps them. It's probably going to keep them out of the playoffs, since they're not going to get an opportunity to win their division now. But it does boost the Seahawks to 6-3, and I think there's a lot of disappointment from Cardinals fans here. Especially since they had James Conner coming back. They finally have like all their weapons again. They D-Hop's back. It's just the Cardinals look like they're going to be good again. With all the talent coming back, but they seem to struggle. Kyler Murray only threw for 175. I mean, he was their leading rusher with 60 yards, but he didn't scramble in for any touchdowns. So I think it's very tough to watch this team, and you want them to be better because you have such an elite talent with Kyler Murray at quarterback. You have DeAndre Hopkins, crazy receiver, super sticky hands. You have a pretty good running back in James Conner, who's very good in the catch game as well as the run game. Zach Ertz has been playing crazy for them, but
I think the main issues with the Cardinals comes to, you look at their head coach who calls the plays, Cliff Kingsbury. Where did he coach in college? Texas Tech. He likes to sling the rock. And you look at the biggest problems with this team, they don't run the ball well unless Kyler Murray gets going running the ball. They want to pass the ball majority of the game, and their offensive line is not built to sit there and just pass the ball all game. So you have a team that's struggling to consistently move the ball in the pass game, and then doesn't even try to run the ball enough to force teams to move, load the box and get you better matchups. So offensively, it's more one-dimensional, because once they get down in the red zone, then they'll try to run the ball, use James Conner as that power back to get it in. But moving down the field, they want to do it just passing the ball, and in the NFL, that just doesn't work.
Yeah.
Even in very rare circumstances like the Chiefs or the Bills,
Did
it
you guys
works.
see the
what? Yeah, he died.
is my
again.
audio really that far behind?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you just jumped in the middle of me talking and then cut out. So I don't know.
Oh, my audio is so far behind. Okay, well, did you guys see the Budda Baker's emotional post-game speech for the Seahawks game?
No, I didn't. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, Budda Baker is not happy with the situation on in Arizona. He absolutely loves his teammates, and he made that abundantly clear in his post-game speech. But he said he's tired of losing at home. He's tired of people, like, in my opinion, whenever I heard this, whenever he said this it kind of felt like he called out Kyler Murray a little bit when he was like, we need to get in the room, we need to watch the film and pay attention to the film and stuff. He was putting a lot of emphasis on the film, and I feel like it was an inadvertent attack on Kyler Murray.
I don't know if that's an attack on Kyler Murray. I think it's half scheme, like we just talked
Yeah, but
about,
that was
offensively. And then defensively, the loss of Chandler Jones has been massive to this team. The secondary
yeah.
is not good enough to carry a bad pass rush. JJ Watt is not the player he used to be. They don't have a good pass rush, so they're relying on a secondary that is not good enough to just, be like the Broncos, where the Broncos secondary carries a mediocre pass rush. The Cardinals don't have that defense. So you got a defense that just gives up yards, and especially yards in big situations, and then an offense that only wants to pass the ball. And this is a mixture for losing in the NFL.
Yeah. I mean, like, they had some good play with
Yeah, the only reason why it seemed that way was because of what was said in the offseason about Kyler Murray and the whole contract clause or the whole film clause in his contract and all that. It kind of seemed like it came from the same place because Budda Baker just sounded really, really frustrated with them getting swept and then also the losing being in the home stadium of Arizona. He said he's just sick and tired of losing at home. People need to focus up and they need to get it together because this is not how the Cardinals want to play football.
Yeah, I don't expect Cliff Kingsbury to be with the team next year. I mean, you see him and Kyler Murray arguing all the time. I don't think they're a great fit for each other. You can see there's issues there. So I think Cliff Kingsbury is going to move on, and the Cardinals, honestly, the offense is there if they run the ball more and stop trying to just pass the ball for 400 yards a game, because at this rate they're running the ball for less than 100 yards a game and passing for less than 200 every game. You're not going to win games that way.
Yeah. And so, another thing to think about is, so what do you guys think about, like, they traded for Robbie Anderson, and the kid has done absolutely nothing since he's come to Arizona. Do you want to talk about, like, a waste of a trade? A lot of people thought that he was going to take that role as like an outside guy to replace AJ Green.
I don't know if it's a waste of a trade because you didn't really give up anything for him, but I think this kind of shows that
it was kind of just poor timing.
I don't even know if that's true. I don't think it's poor timing. I just think where Robbie Anderson is in his career, he's always kind of been a diva wide receiver. But with the Jets, though, he was a deep threat. He was getting consistent 100-yard games. He was 1,000-yard receiver, and he had some injuries, got in trouble with the law, and ever since then he's not really been able to find a footing anywhere, and he just doesn't seem to be a productive receiver in the NFL anymore.
So what do you guys think the impact on Budda Baker getting hurt in that Seahawks game is for them? Especially since, he only has a couple years left in that deal. He's not very happy with the organization. Do you think he seeks a trade maybe next year, or, tries to sign with someone else, not wanting to re-sign?
I think it depends on how the offseason goes, because it could turn into a situation just like Minka with the Dolphins, where the team is trending down at that time, and you have this really good safety that could be traded for. Honestly, you could probably get a first or second round pick for Budda.
Oh, I still think he's worth that much. Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely, yes. He is definitely still a premier safety in this league.
So if the Cardinals are trending downward for the rest of the season, looks like they're going to have to go into somewhat of a rebuild. I think you could see, Budda being moved and bringing in that extra draft capital, because I mean, there's a lot of holes on that defense. JJ Watt's really the only solid player on that defense. Zach Allen's had a couple good games, but they're really missing Chandler Jones. They don't have that premier edge pass rusher. So they need to find, that good edge pass rusher, whether it's in free agency or in the draft. They're going to have to get another corner, another safety to go with Budda Baker. So they have a lot of holes to fill, as well as they got to fix that offensive line.
I like Zayvon Collins. I think he's super solid in the middle.
Yeah, I think their linebacking core is solid.
With him and Isaiah, they're still young enough where they can, they can do something with it.
Yeah.
But
you got to think they run. I'm blanking on the name, but basically they run 5 down linemen. With just Isaiah being that lone linebacker on the top. So with their team in the past, they would have, like Hassan Reddick and Chandler Jones rushing from those outside positions, where now they're missing both of those productive pass rushers. And Zayvon Collins is solid. He's having a good year, but he's more of a do-it-all linebacker than just a straight-up pass rushing linebacker.
Yeah, they've been having him play a lot of middle of the field. He's been getting a good amount of picks and stuff like that and pass breakups. I think they've incorporated him into a little bit more, and I guess they probably have Isaiah kind of dropping back into like a low safety, like a safety in a box position. using him there, but still that way they can get Zaven and Isaiah on the field because you want to get all
Yeah.
your best players. So your best three, in coverage are probably through the middle is Budda, Isaiah, and Zaven. So
I think
Yeah,
the top priority for that Cardinals team is definitely they definitely have to address that offensive line. They just paid Kyler Murray a egregious amount of money, and this is the product that they're paying all that money for, and it's definitely not worth their buck as of right now with how things have been. I understand that D-Hop was out and all these other things, but if you're getting paid almost like a top dollar quarterback in the NFL, you should be able to make some things happen.
you should, but again, I think it goes back to that offensive scheme. It's not. This isn't college football. You can't go 4 wide and pass the ball the whole game. It's just it doesn't work unless you have a great scheme, and it works for the Chiefs. It works for the Bills because they have good O lines.
Yeah.
But when you have a quarterback that is smaller, so now you have to move the pocket and have specific blocking schemes to open up passing lanes for each play. If you don't have the offensive line that is able to open up those passing lanes, you cannot expect your smaller quarterback to be successful. If you look at the Saints, why they were so successful. They had a good O line with Drew Brees, who was again the same size as Kyler Murray, but they were able to open up passing lanes and incorporate more of that short passing game with Brees to be able to get that elite production out of him. Where the Cardinals aren't doing that. You're asking Kyler Murray to have to sit in the pocket and throw the ball, over a 6'5" lineman. It's not an easy thing to do when you're 5'11".
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. Moving on. We saw an NFL record get broken this past week with another running quarterback, a quarterback who's been struggling, as well.
Dan, I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
Where did this quarterback go to college?
Ohio State.
Yeah, did he?
Yeah.
And what was his name?
The quarterback we're talking about is Justin Fields.
So
Justin
I think Ohio State has 2 records for running quarterbacks because I do believe
Let's go.
one Terrell Pryor does have the record for longest run as a quarterback.
Yes, he does. This is like a 93 yarder or something, 96 yarder.
So I mean, we just put out athletes. Can't say that they're great quarterbacks, but we put out athletes nonetheless.
Yeah, by the way, he rushed for 178 yards and broke Michael Vick's record of 173 back in 2002. Now, a lot of people in the news and in the media have saying that this is Justin Fields' breakout, like this is what they've been waiting for. What's your boys' opinion on that? I feel like it's just a product of necessity right now. Like he's getting rushed at, he's getting screened at, that O-line sucks. So he's just kind of running around like doing whatever he can to stay alive instead of like him like actually, being like Lamar or Michael Vick or something like that.
I think it's a little bit of both. It is kind of a breakout because he didn't do that last year. He's figuring out reading defenses. Okay, when can I scramble and when can I not? And he's starting to make plays off of that. So in one aspect, yes, it is the coming out party of Justin Fields because he's reading defenses better to understand where he can make plays with his feet. But on the other side, it is out of necessity, like you said, because they don't have a great receiving core. They don't have a good offensive line. The run game has not been super strong the past couple of weeks, where to start the first half of the season, that was their entire offense. So, in that aspect, it is out of necessity because if Justin Fields isn't making plays with his feet, they're not moving the ball. And
Yeah,
I don't know if it all comes off of scrambles either because he has been getting a lot more quarterback designed runs as well. They've started to incorporate that into the offense and using every aspect of Justin Fields to get production. And for the last about 4 weeks, he's been good.
Yeah, I think he's been solid. I mean, I still like to see the kid do more with his arm.
Yes.
He has probably one of the prettiest passes in college football in that playoff game against Clemson, where he took the top off, threw an absolute deep bomb to Chris Olave. It's probably one of the most beautiful passes in college football history. And I get it. I get, the Ohio State line is always, the top tier line in college football. So it's like, it's much different when he's playing for the Chicago Bears. So, I wouldn't
Yeah,
mind. I
I
wouldn't
think if
mind
the
seeing
Bears
him get traded
I think
away just to get someone better. Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't really mind it either to see him be moved on to somewhere else. But I feel like if the Bears, maybe do a little bit of housekeeping and they address some of those offensive line needs, and maybe we can see Justin Fields maybe take the top off a little bit more whenever he plays. I mean, I understand the receiving core that he has isn't the greatest, even though they did just acquire Chase Claypool. But I feel like that line needs to be addressed if they want Justin Fields to be a long-term answer for the Bears.
I just don't know if they're going to address it because the offensive line for the Bears has been an issue the past, I don't know, 5 years.
It's been an issue since
And
Jay Cutler was a quarterback. Like
Yeah,
it's never been good.
and
Yeah.
it feels like it's just getting worse. And it's starting to get to a situation where you look at, do they not want to pay offensive line? Can they not draft offensive line? Like, what is the problem here? Because you trade away half of your good players for almost nothing. And then you draft this good product high in the draft, and then you don't give them any weapons. And then you go, oh, is it time to move on from Justin Fields? Like, that's insane. It's
All
like
I'm
the
saying
Bengals talking
is-
about, is it time to move on from Joe Burrow because he gets sacked too much? It's like, no, it's not Joe Burrow's fault he gets sacked too much. His offensive line is just garbage.
Well, I mean, they see the Bengals attempted to address their offensive line needs in the offseason, and it has made zero difference.
Yeah. And I mean, it doesn't make sense to me how he gets sacked so much because I believe Joe Burrow has the quickest pass in the NFL, like per average attempt. Like I believe he gets the ball out of his hand the fastest in the NFL.
I still think there's just enough of those like deep shots that they have, like, trying to get Tyler Boyd or, T Higgins open, where, it's not like a little slant or a little out route or Jamar's like breaking something real quick. They're trying to set some of those like deeper shots for those guys to get involved, and it's just not happening. And then, Joe Burrow's taking, pot shots, and getting
Well, I mean,
cracked.
Yeah.
is their offensive line getting beat a lot, like in the middle? Because like they adjust their tackles, right?
No, Leo Collins has been awful this year.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
both their tackles have been awful this year.
Yeah, that's who they signed. They spent like
Yeah.
$77 million on 2 tackles, right? So like, I mean, if their outside line is still playing bad after spending that much money, and like their interior is still getting beat as well, like they still haven't addressed any issues.
Yeah, to
You
me,
think
this
it's-
kind of just shows Lael Collins looked good because he was lining up next to Zach Martin every play,
Yeah.
who is just an absolutely eraser on that offensive line. He doesn't get beat, he doesn't hold. So when you got a guy next to you that's going to be elite, it brings up that value on that team.
Yeah.
So, but it's the Bengals offensive line's just been awful. But to get back to the Bears, I think Justin Fields will continue to be the runner. I just hope that he can develop with those receivers. They keep some of those receivers around him, and Darnell Mooney get a good connection because Darnell Mooney is a great route runner. He's got good speed. He can be a really good receiver in this league. I think they need more offensive line help because if they have a better offensive line, they can run the ball better, and then it's going to open up way more of that passing game. The offensive line has to be addressed.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So let's talk about a couple of the big matchups for this week. So we have 2 top dogs. The Minnesota Vikings are traveling to play the Buffalo Bills. Now, there is the question with the Buffalo Bills, is Josh Allen going to play? That hasn't been decided yet, so we don't know. But Stephon Diggs did tweet, hallelujah. Or no, I'm sorry, it was rejoice. So there wasn't any – it doesn't seem like he's going to miss a lot of time. Doesn't seem like Josh Allen's going to be out for a while. He's questionable for the game this week. So if he doesn't play – I don't know if Case Keenum can step in and I mean, maybe with that little bit of revenge, used to be a Viking, he steps in and can have a good game. But I think the Bills lose if Josh Allen doesn't start. But I think the Bills are in a good spot right now where with their record and everything, you sit Josh Allen for a week. You make sure he's healthy before forcing him back there because you don't want to see an injury. But I think this would have been an elite game if Josh Allen wasn't hurt.
I'm sorry. Are you saying Case Keenum is an elite quarterback?
I'm saying he's not.
No, he's not.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. I just
will
wanted
s-
your confirmation on that.
I will say that one thing though is if the Bills don't win this game, this will take them out from being the number 1 seed in the AFC because there's a lot of other teams that are 6-3, 6-2. So if they drop a game here, this is going to make the road to the playoffs a whole bunch harder. Because there's, especially with that loss to the Jets last week, the AFC
Yeah.
East is tied. It's 6-2.
Well, if they
6 and
lose
3,
this
it's
week,
6 and 3. Yeah.
if they lose this week, they go to third in their division because they are 0-2 in their division right now.
That's so crazy to think about. Like I just
Because they lost to Miami and the Jets. They still have to play the Patriots twice, but they're 0-2 in their division right now. So they're 6-2, 0-2 in their division. So like yes, they definitely need to win this game, but they also are going to need to rip off probably 4 straight division games if they want to be in that top seed. They got to start winning in their division because as of right now, they probably won't win their division from the simple fact that, they've already had their bye week and both the Bills and the Jets are right on their heels.
The Dolphins
Both
and the Jets.
That one, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. And, I don't know, the Jets have a loss to the Patriots.
Yeah. Well, let me throw this out there. The Patriots are 5-4 right now. So they're right there. So that division is 6-2, 6-3, 6-3, 5-4.
Which I feel like everyone's been kind of counting out the Patriots this season, but they've been quietly just like staying like right in the race. And I feel like, like with all the turmoil with, Bailey Zappi and Mac Jones and that team not being as good as people thought it would be, Devontae Parker basically being a more overpaid N'Keal Harry, that, they're like, oh, this team is bad. But in reality, they're just quietly sitting there at number 4 in their division, but they're quietly really close in it. Same thing with the Bengals, like they're right there. I'd say the same thing with the Browns too, especially with they're a couple games, a couple
The
wins.
Browns need help.
Yeah,
because
the Browns need more help than the Patriots do, but I feel like the Browns
at this rate, the Browns need to win their division to make the playoffs. So they're gonna have to beat the Ravens again, and the Ravens are gonna have to drop a couple games.
Yeah, but no, I was like, I think like the Browns can I think can sweep the rest of the division.
My problem with the Browns is I don't think this is a playoff team this year because the rest of their remaining schedule is tough.
It is tough, and you do have Deshaun Watson coming back, so he'll be fresh.
But he's not coming back for 3 weeks.
Yeah,
and our next 3 games are at Dolphins, at Bills, and home against the Buccaneers.
That's a tough stretch, though.
Yeah, you guys got a gauntlet coming up, don't you?
Yeah, then it doesn't get easier once Watson comes back.
Yeah. I'm not as worried about that Bucs game though. Like, I feel like.
What do you mean?
The Bucs are average. They're not.
Yeah, but we're the Browns.
Yeah, that's
we
true.
find ways to lose.
I was talking about what JT said. He said, "Oh, it's not going to be easy when Deshaun Watson is back. You guys come back, and he's playing against the Texans."
Yeah,
but it doesn't get easier.
Yeah, it's like
because then
like
we're
Texans 2 division games.
Then we're at Bengals, home against the Ravens, home against the Saints, at the Commanders.
Yeah,
which are all like
then at the Steelers to finish up. Yeah,
which are all solid teams.
Can you beat them Commanders for me?
Well, the Commanders are not going to make the playoffs. They would have to go crazy. I think they play the Eagles this week, so I think that's the Commanders are that team that they always float around 500, but especially with the Giants playing better in that division and the Cowboys being 6-2, the Commanders would have to go absolutely insane for the rest of the year.
Yeah,
I do believe that if the Eagles are going to lose, they will lose to the Commanders.
You think of like a little like to just kind of rest some people, not go as hard, because
I mean, maybe not even that, right? I feel like they're going to come in and be like, "Oh, it's just the Commanders. They're a cupcake this year. Like this isn't even a real game." I think they're just going to go in there. They're not going to take them seriously. And like, if you don't take the Commanders seriously, like some bad things can happen whenever you play against a defense that kind of has some of those studs on it, and an offense that does have the capability of making some plays.
Do you guys want to hear about how bad the Eagles' rest of the season is?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Schedule?
What do we got?
They have their Monday Night Football against the Commanders this week
Okay.
at home, and then they go at the Colts, home against the Packers, home against the Titans, at the Giants, at the Bears, at the Cowboys, home against the Saints, and then home against the Giants. They have like 3 games in there that they could lose. The Packers are playing awful. The Colts are playing awful. They already dominated the Commanders in the first matchup. So I don't see how that would change that much. I mean, they held the Commanders to 1 score in that game. I don't think the way the Commanders have been playing this year, they're going to play better. The Titans are struggling right now
without Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah, and the Eagles defense is playing well, so they'll load that box and trust Darius Slay to, just go crazy, and they won't. The Titans will struggle to pass the ball. They should beat the Bears. So I mean, really, it's the 2 games against the Giants, 1 game against the Cowboys.
Don't worry, we'll sweep them.
Okay.
I'm just saying this is probably the easiest walk to an 8-0 start that we've probably ever seen. Like this is not a good undefeated season. Like people are gonna look back and say like, wow, like the teams they beat to this road were not very good. Like their best games were their division games. There was no other ones in the NFC because the NFC is just they're all average quarterbacks.
Well, we also got to when this schedule was made, the Titans were supposed to be a lot better. The Colts were supposed to be a lot better. Like the Packers were supposed to be good. The Saints were supposed to be good. Like this is a schedule that on paper at the start of the season looked tough.
Yeah.
Now, not so much. But we do have to mention they do have a win against the Vikings.
That is relevant.
That's like the only good team that they played. And I think even that game, someone didn't play or wasn't doing very well.
I think that's the game that they held Justin Jefferson to 48 yards.
Yeah, it's something,
And Dalvin Cook had 6 carries for 17 yards.
It seems pretty good.
Which is awful. And Kirk Cousins threw 3 picks, which is hot. If the Vikings make the Super Bowl with Kirk Cousins, I will be flabbergasted.
So you're buying a Kirk Cousins jersey then?
I
Right?
guess, yeah. If they go to the Super Bowl, I'll buy a Kirk Cousins jersey because that's awful. Well,
All right.
we've rambled on about a bunch of random stuff, so let's jump to the next game. The Seahawks are traveling to the Buccaneers this week. So I think this is going to be a solid matchup. The Bucs still have a good defense. That offense is struggling a little bit, but the defense has played a lot better. Still that same old Bucs defense. They don't give up a ton of points. They keep the games close. The offense just can't score. So I think this is going to be an interesting game because the Seahawks give up. They have one of the lowest yard rates to wide receivers in the NFL. So they're not allowing a lot of yards to wide receivers. So this could be a good matchup because the Bucs have some good wide receivers. So are they going to be able to get going against this Seahawks defense? Is it playing well, or
I think
are they going to get dominated by Geno Smith?
I think in this matchup, I think the Seahawks still come victorious. But I think when Tampa Bay is, 8-9 going into the playoffs because they've somehow managed to win their division, and they play Geno Smith, Jimmy Garoppolo, Kirk Cousins, they're gonna win in the playoffs, and then have to face, Jalen Hurts. So
How many more games does Geno Smith have to play insane before we start talking MVP?
Yeah, see, I don't know. You have to ask this question every week still, I think. You have to ask the question, what version of Geno Smith is going to show up?
The one that beats the Giants. Next question.
Okay. All right. Calm down.
Dang. You just put your
Okay.
up,
All right.
You
I
said you
see
ain't got no
you.
nipples. Oh, okay.
Fair enough. Dan, you're a liar.
But
Actually,
I mean, Geno Smith's been playing out of his mind. I think that with the way this Seahawks offense has been moving, that this Seahawks offense is quietly turning into one of the most balanced offenses in the NFL. A lot of people thought, oh, this is just going to be a offense that's going to struggle to pass the ball with two really good wide receivers, and and then the running game is going to struggle because of that. But somehow Geno Smith is just throwing absolute dimes, and they have Kenneth Walker, who started to go crazy after Rashad Penny's injury. So like they have a good running back right now, and Geno Smith is just throwing absolute dimes.
He's
see,
average.
I think one thing to talk about is that we're talking about Geno Smith and like talking about him for MVP, but Tom Brady's also quietly having a great season. He's second on the board for passing yards behind Patrick Mahomes by a little bit over 50 yards. He's only thrown 10 touchdowns, but he's only also thrown one pick. So
Yeah, but the difference is his team has a losing record.
This is true, and they're never going to give it to someone with a losing record.
Like they're on pace, like you said, to win their division at like
8
wins. It's going to
Yeah.
be stupid. That division is so bad. They lost to the Panthers earlier this season.
Yeah.
Like it's insane.
I think one of the big things is I don't know if it's possible. I don't know if there's a free agent out there to help them, but they need some help at running back. They got everything else. The defense plays super well, but yeah, Leonard Fournette just hasn't been that guy this year, and they haven't had anyone else step up in the organization to take over a spot. So they don't have some run game with him. He's not pounding the rock in at the goal line.
Well, I think one of the biggest factors in that, Ali Marpet retired before the start of the season.
True.
Who was he was that tone setter for that offensive line. He was the most physical offensive lineman they had, and he was the best offensive lineman they had. Well, maybe Tristan Wirfs, but he was that guy on the inside of the line that was that tone setter. We're running the ball down your throat. They don't have that guy anymore. And the Bucs offensive line has struggled. Tristan Wirfs is still good, still one of the best tackles in the game, but the rest of that line is not very good. Tom Brady's getting pressured a lot, and it's just resulting in him getting sacked, them losing drives.
I mean, I know you said that, you don't think that they're good, but I mean, right now the offensive line is still ranked 5th. I just say it, like
maybe it's because like they're just not moving the ball on offense. It looks worse, but it just seems like every time they need to have a big play happen, that offensive line just gets beat.
I've definitely seen Tom Brady get touched way more this season than I pretty much have any other year of his career. I've never seen him actually get like take so many hits or get touched or so many hurries or knocked. I haven't seen it because those kind of things don't really happen to Tom Brady. But like at this year, I've just been seeing him just a knockdown here, a sack here. It's just he's just getting way more pressure in his face than like it seems like he's normally used to. And I feel like maybe that is because Ali Marpet's gone.
Yeah, I mean, he only has like 16 sacks 14 sacks against him, which is half of what Joe Burrow has. Still 6-7 less than Geno Smith. Less than Patrick Mahomes.
But if you look at Tom Brady the last 2 years in Tampa Bay, he was sacked 21 times and 22 times for the year. They're at 14 halfway through the year.
I know. I just.
So they're not.
I'm just saying. I think dismissing him is, as not being good this year is, an understatement. And I still think he has a chance to upset them and anyone in the playoffs.
Well, I mean, his QBR is down. It's he's in the 90s now, or the low 90s instead of in the hundreds where he has been the past couple of years. He's like, yes, he hasn't thrown a lot of picks, but he's also not throwing touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean,
which is also something
when you have your elite receivers like Mike Evans go like this and alligator arm wide open touchdowns, like it's kind of hard to throw touchdowns.
I mean, yes, he has had some drops, but every team deals with drops. And even the Bills deal with drops at times. So it's not Like that's the thing you just have to deal with and you have to be able to play through. In the end, this offense is not as good as it was last year, and it's not close.
Yeah. All right. So moving on. The next game we got for you boys is we got the Chargers versus the 49ers. Now, we've seen the Chargers struggle, and the 49ers have kind of found some new energy with, CMC coming in there. They look like they're playing good again. Jimmy G's not doing his thing, So what do you think about this? What's going on with this game?
I think Christian McCaffrey is the perfect running back for Kyle Shanahan. This is everything he wants. And as long as Christian McCaffrey can stay healthy, or any running back in a Kyle Shanahan offense, they're going to be productive and they're going to put up monster numbers. You look at last year, the running backs got hurt. They moved Deebo Samuel to running back. He's putting up crazy stats. When Raheem Mostert was healthy, he's putting up crazy stats. When Jeff Wilson was healthy, he's putting up crazy stats. Elijah Mitchell, the same thing. Christian McCaffrey is better than all those running backs. So as long as he is healthy, he's going to put up crazy stats, which is just going to help this team because you got to worry about Deebo, George Kittle, and now Christian McCaffrey. You take a lot of pressure off of the game manager, Jimmy Garoppolo, and you allow that defense, because you're going to be moving the ball more, you allow that defense to pin their ears back, and you allow Nick Bosa to just get after the quarterback. So I think this is a game. The Niners, assert their dominance on California. The Niners, I think, are going to win here. And I mean, the Chargers can't stop the run, and you got a Christian McCaffrey you're going up against.
Yeah, who's electric, out of every aspect out of the backfield.
Yeah. I think this is going to be a relatively close game because Jay Herbo puts up points. But in the end, the Niners are going to be able to make one or two plays to win them this game.
Yeah, I think if the Chargers win, the X factor is going to be Derwin and some of those corners that they got, those young corners. Yeah, that's where you're going to see the Chargers do good.
Yeah, I think the Chargers are going to win this game. I think Derwin James needs to show up this week. I also think that I'm blanking on the guy's name. Who's their corner?
J.C. Jackson.
Yeah, J.C. Jackson.
I don't think he's played almost the whole year.
No, who's that rookie that they drafted?
Asante Samuel.
Asante Samuel Jr. I think he's kind of got to break out a little bit this game. He's got to help Derwin. Derwin can't do it on his own. I think
he's trying.
Yeah, he's trying, but I think Bosa needs to be able to get after the quarterback.
Bosa's hurt.
Oh my jeez.
Yeah, and they also don't have Rashawn Slater on the left side, so
Yeah, their defense is injured. And,
it's in shambles.
Yeah, and even when Bosa was playing, their run defense was awful. Like they were getting after the quarterback, but it doesn't matter when they just pound the rock on you.
Are they playing him in the end slot? Or are they putting him at the outside linebacker slot?
They're both, him and Khalil Mack were both playing outsides opposite of each other. Or we also saw times where they'd line them up next to each other, and Khalil Mack would be on the outside and Bosa would be on the inside.
Okay. I guess that makes sense. I guess Bosa is a little bit more physical than Khalil Mack on an outside matchup, I suppose.
Yeah. So talk about outside linebackers. We got one last matchup for you guys. We got the Saints versus Steelers, and we want to talk about TJ Watt could possibly come back this week. This is like the week that they have listed for him predicted out. What do you guys think about that?
I think that's huge for the Steelers. You look at how bad the Steelers defense has been since he got hurt. He is everything to this Steelers defense. He creates the pressure. He's a great run defender. He gets this defense going. I think with the Steelers' remaining schedule, you could see the Steelers go on a little bit of a run here because just like the Eagles, they have a relatively weak end of the season. So is there a possibility with TJ Watt coming back, if he comes back in good form and looks like, the TJ Watt from week 1, do the Steelers rip off 7 wins out of their last 9 and, get Mike Tomlin his winning record?
See, my thought here is that really the best move for Pittsburgh moving forward? Because if they rip off, go on a little bit of a tear here, they're going to end up with a mediocre draft pick, but the teams looked abysmal this year.
Yeah. Is it good for them? No. Is it probably going to happen? Yes.
Yes. they're gonna, they're gonna stick TJ Watt back out there. TJ Watt's gonna go crazy. They're gonna do a thing. The only thing I can say though that I do like about this move is if TJ Watt does come back and plays, it'll give Kenny Pickett on the other side of the football a better chance to develop and actually play, because he's not playing in all of these absolute shootouts, because the defense wants you to be able to do something. And I feel like, it's like what we talked about, with TJ Watt, the effect on the defense. TJ Watt will make the rest of the defense look good because how good TJ Watt is. I also think this helps Kenny Pickett get better because now the defense is now good again.
See, that I don't know about. It definitely puts less pressure on him to have to score every drive. But you look at that Steelers run game. Najee Harris is looked awful this year.
Well, Jalen Warren right now is projected to be the number 1 running back the rest of the season.
Well,
Oh my.
that's even worse.
Oh
I
my.
mean, he's had good usage.
No, if he's having good games, that's cool. But you just spent a first round pick on a running back last year,
Yeah,
and he's
no,
already
Yeah.
not playing. Like, that's bad. They traded away Trace Claypool, so the wide receiver core is still trying to figure out how they're going to use everyone. Deontay Johnson hasn't had a great year. George
Yeah.
Pickens is kind of
he's having a solid year.
he's having a solid year,
for a
but
rookie.
it's not what everyone expected out of him. And in the end, I don't like the Steelers' offensive line is not that good.
Still
So
trash.
I think this is still an offense that's going to struggle to move the ball. They're still going to, they're even when TJ Watt's back, when they win games, they're still going to win games close. This is not an offense that, TJ Watt's back and the defense is getting stops. Well,
Yeah.
we're putting up, we're winning by 20 points. No, TJ Watt's back. This is instead of losing by 7, you win by 3. Like,
Yeah. Yeah,
it's
I
not,
just I just think it's more of like a benefit for the the offense's not ego, but offense's morale.
See, we have to kind of ask ourselves this question because JT had made this point at another time whenever we had a discussion about this. Like, this is around the same time that JJ got injured, and then whenever JJ came back, he wasn't as productive. So, we got to ask ourselves.
With JJ, it was weird because he had his first big injury. He missed that year. The next year he came back. It was right back to form, elite production. And then the following year he got injured, got healthy. The next missed that season, got healthy in the offseason, started the next season, played like 4 games, got hurt, missed the rest of the season. So it was one of those things where, do I still expect JJ Watt to have great production? Yeah, but you have to look at his brother's injury history. They train together a lot. Is the way that they train, I assume they probably treat their bodies the same way. They have the same, physical therapy regimens. So is this another situation where, they've kind of abused their body in the wrong ways? And, once they both start to get near 30, their bodies are just breaking down.
Yeah, but are we going to see moving forward? Are we going to see the same TJ Watt?
I think until the next injury, yes.
Okay.
I think it's the next
Dan?
injury that's going to really slow him down.
Dan, what are your thoughts? Do you think we're going to see the same production from TJ Watt?
No, I don't. I think he's gonna still be solid, but I don't think he's gonna be as elite as he's been. But I hope they pick up someone like Will Anderson or Nolan Smith, and he kind of
The only way they pick up Will Anderson or Nolan Smith is if
they
they're
lose
picking
out.
in the top 5.
Yeah.
Which, if TJ comes back and is productive, they're not drafting top 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
They'll probably be in the middle of the pack in the draft.
which
But
is where they
if
are
we
every year.
if we look at JJ's career through his seasons, at that first injury hit, and he only played in 3 games that year. But the next season he came back, played the full season, had 16 sacks, looked crazy, and then it was just injuries after that. And he's never really been the same player. I mean, he had the one season with his last season in Houston where he had a good year, but it wasn't anything like it used to be, and he hasn't been the same player since. So I think there is, a possibility that TJ goes down that same route. I don't want to see it because he is a great player. He's fun to watch, not fun to play against as a Browns fan, but I hope that, he's taking better care of his body and that he doesn't have those injury issues, because you want to see where he could end his career.
Yeah, I'm going to pose you guys another quick question. Do you think that maybe Pittsburgh should look to maybe move him to maybe try to bring in some more assets to try to maybe retool the team?
I don't think you can, because this is proven the Steelers defense is 100% reliant on him. So the only way you do that is if you're accepting the fact that you want to draft top 5.
Yeah,
And I don't think the Steelers want to do that.
I think
they
another
haven't
thing,
committed to that yet, quite yet.
yeah, I think another thing to talk about is that TJ Watt also took he still took like a big salary, but he took a salary that wasn't as big as people thought that he was going to ask for because he wanted to stay with the Pittsburgh Steelers. So, he's already on like a little bit of a discounted salary with the Steelers than, where he could have gotten in the open market. And so I think that's a big thing to think about is like, you're probably not going to get the same return for someone, like TJ Watt for the same price.
Yeah, because if he took a pay cut, and people were going to lowball like, oh, well, you're paying him this much, or whatever, even though he's a top player. Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. He's still making like $100 million over 4 years. It's still an egregious contract, but it's not. Yeah. But the Steelers were like, hey, like, we want to pay you this. And TJ Watt's like, I'm happy to take it from the Steelers. I want to stay with the organization.
I just think with the Steelers, they're running into an issue with some of the staples on that defense, the Cameron Haywards. They're still good players, but he's like 35 now. I mean, he's not that old, but he's like 32, 33. He's getting out there in age. You're starting to lose out on some of that production. Tyson Allalula had a good year last year, but he's 33.
He hasn't even played this year.
Okay. Well, yeah. So you have a lot of that defense that is getting older. The younger players that they had are now nearing their late 20s. So you have this defense that's starting to get very old. Corner wise, how'd they fix corner? They brought in another 30-year-old corner.
Yeah, they didn't really do anything to fix the issue of having older DBs.
Yeah, like if you're making a championship run, older players work because you know that they're going to be okay. Let me do my job. Let me fit my role. Where some younger players don't want to accept their role, they want to, make plays and they want to get that contract. Where older players are normally, let me do my job, let me do my role because it's going to make the team better and we're going to win championships.
Yeah.
But this is a Steelers team that their offensive line isn't good. Their offense is young, but not playing well. And their defense is old and not playing well without TJ Watt. So you're nearing a point where you're going to have to, make a couple plays in free agency or have a couple years where you have some really good drafts. And the Steelers haven't had good drafts the past couple of years.
No, they have not. Not at all. Even some of their guys who were good in the previous years have sort of started to fizzle out. Like Devin Bush, like he just hasn't been the same since his tears. That's probably like our best pick we've had in previous years, and he's starting to fizzle out already.
Yeah, I mean after last year, you could have said Najee, but he's been awful this year.
Yeah.
And then some of your other notable picks are like Bud Dupree, who's not on the team anymore, Terrell Edmonds.
Moose still doing solid.
Well, yeah, but that's a tight end.
A little different.
As good as it doesn't matter how good your tight end is. If he doesn't have any talent around him or good quarterback play, it doesn't matter.
And Moose not Travis Kelce. He's not a receiver playing tight end. He's another throws some big time blocks, gets in, makes a tough catch in the end zone or for a first down. That's what he is.
Yeah, he's more of that Hawkinson role. He's a decent blocker. Good pass catcher, but if he's your number one option, your offense isn't going to be good.
Yeah.
He's not George Kittle. He's not Travis Kelce that, hey, I need you to go for 10 catches for 160 yards today in 2 tugs. Like Muth is not going to do that for you.
He might get you one or get you a pretty cool highlight reel whenever he, throws the guy around or maybe breaks a tackle for, a 40, 50-yard touchdown. But it's not going to happen for you every game. His production's pretty solid usually, but Kenny Pickett's just having trouble getting the ball.
Moose doing roughly about the same he did last year. But,
yeah, he's doing Moose things. I understand, but Kenny Pickett. I feel like whenever I watch him play, I feel like maybe he's trying to do too much sometimes.
I think the other thing you have to think about with the stats is Muth wasn't the only tight end playing last year.
Yeah, they had
So-
Eric Ebron, but Eric Ebron wasn't even getting looks either.
He wasn't getting looks, but he was still playing a good number of snaps. Where like Muth is the guy this year. He's playing a lot more snaps. So if his production is the same, he's not having as good of a year.
Well, Moose at the same place he was at the end of the year right now.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Okay.
like he's played was it like 9 less games and at the same spot. Because he's only
He's
played
pretty
7.
good.
Yeah, he's only played 7 games. Yeah, I mean he's like obviously like he has like 100 yards to go to tie the yardage from last year, but he's doing a little bit more yards per catch and stuff like that.
Okay. Well, let's jump to our pick'ems.
Pick'ems.
So we all had the Falcons tonight, Thursday night football. The Falcons got beat down and kind of got dominated by the Panthers, which is this weird team that is either a no-show or plays well. It's a weird situation with the Panthers right now. I mean, they're 3-7. They just moved on from some of their best players, and they seem to be playing better football since doing that. But
Also different coach. So,
true,
yeah.
true.
Not
Also a
anything
different
about-
coach. But so they held the Falcons to 138 rushing yards. All of us expected those running backs to carry the Falcons to victory. It didn't happen in that division game. So let's jump to the Sunday games. We have a game. I believe this is the first Germany game
Yes, sir.
that is played between the Seahawks and the Buccaneers. So this is
So
going
it's
to be
basically a home game for Seattle because they're going from one place that's gray and sad to another place that's gray and sad.
maybe technically it's a home game for the Buccaneers though. Technically.
I was just talking about the environment, but okay.
Yeah. Yeah, but now those European games are always fun. Those fans always have a lot of energy, sometimes more energy than American fans have watching those teams because they don't really seem to care about the score as much. They like to see the game, and as long as it's a good game, they're happy.
Yeah, they like the
I-
event.
Yeah, they like the event and all the culture around it because you look back at European soccer when they do it, it's let's travel to the game, they celebrate during the game, they have all their chants and everything, and then they go home. But with the NFL, in the NFL games, it's you tailgate before the game. It's almost like an entire event. It's an entire day. The way us Americans handle it. So the Europeans love that when we go over there and play. It's basically a festival for the day, and there's a football game to end it. But I do expect the Seahawks to win this one. I'm going with the Seahawks.
All right.
I'm also going to take them Seabirds. I don't think that. I mean, I feel like maybe Tom Brady's gonna break under some international pressure here. I feel like Mike Evans isn't going to show up this week.
The European fans are coming to support Giselle.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're on Team Giselle. Clip it.
I'm taking Tom and the Bucks. I
Okay.
still believe in this team. I think this is a game that they need to win that propel them towards the playoffs. And I think Tom still has some stuff left in the tank. Whether or not it's a Super Bowl in him, but I definitely think he's handled international games. He's played prime time all the time. I got Tom. I don't
Okay.
think the pressure's going to get to him.
So Dan is on Team Tom, and we're on Team Giselle. Got it.
Facts.
My
Facts.
boy Tom.
Yeah.
Give me my boy Tom all day.
All right. Next game, we'll jump into the 1:00 games. We got the Minnesota Vikings traveling to the Buffalo Bills. Wait, what are you guys thinking here?
Quick answer: I'm taking Minnesota. Don't ask me another question, or I'll change my mind.
All right. I'm also gonna take the Vikings. I think with Josh Allen being hurt, I feel like you're gonna see him struggle. I know he's had a week to recover, but this Viking team has been on a roll. The Bills have lost a tough game last week, and I like the way TJ Hawkinson's looking on the Vikings. So I got the Vikings.
This is such a tough decision because the Bills are the Buffalo Bills. You know they're going to be good, but the question with Josh Allen, if he plays, does the injury to his throwing elbow impact him at all? I think I'm going to roll with the Vikings, but I could see Kirk Cousins having another 3 turnover game in this game and losing the Vikings the game.
All right.
All right, the next 1 o'clock game, we have a little division matchup: Detroit Lions at the Chicago Bears. Chicago.
Who day?
What?
No,
Did you say who day for Chicago? You're close then. You're almost there.
same thing. They're both
The Bears.
the Bears.
Yeah. That's the one.
The Bears.
And with the way Justin Fields has been playing, I'm going with the Bears.
And with how atrocious the Lions have been, I'm going with the Bears.
I mean, the Lions did just beat the Packers, but I mean, like,
Yeah,
what
it's
does
the
that
Packers.
say?
It's
So,
Everyone's
Packers.
beating the
I guess I'll take-
Packers.
I'm going to take the Bears here as well. I think Justin Fields is going to string together another week of greatness against these Detroit Lions.
Okay. All right. Next 1 o'clock game, we have the Jaguars traveling to Arrowhead to play the Chiefs. I have a
Okay.
hard time betting against Patrick Mahomes. The kid, he just wins. He just wins. And the Jaguars have struggled. I think this could be a close game, but give me the Chiefs.
Daddy does what Daddy does, and Patty Mahomes is gonna win, which is what it is.
I'm going to go with the unpopular vote here. I'm going to take the Jaguars.
Think a little upset action going on.
Yeah, take a little upset here. I feel like the
Okay.
Chiefs are going to be in a situation where they might not take this team seriously, and I think if you don't take T-Law seriously, he can definitely he can make you pay for it. But if
Okay.
that's going to happen, I need Travis Etienne needs to have a big game.
Okay. All right. All right. Next game, we have Browns at Dolphins. I'm taking the Browns, but this is going to be the only game in NFL history where a team is going to score less points but win. Go Browns.
What?
Interesting. So they're playing
Oh.
football golf. Okay, interesting.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm actually gonna take the Browns. I like the Browns in this matchup. I feel that the Dolphins just have to let up almost 200 yards to a quarterback. And the Browns being as prolific runners as they are. I like the Browns, and I think that someone might have seen something that they like against that defense.
I'm also going to roll with the Browns here. I think Nick Chubb he just can't be stopped. You just can't really do anything about it. Nick Chubb is going to do what he wants.
Just remember, Mike McDaniels during the game did go up to Justin Fields and ask him to stop scrambling. And he said it was frustrating because he didn't listen.
Yeah.
So just understand, Justin Fields is not coachable. He did not listen to Mike McDaniels.
Yeah, but like, is listening to Mike McDaniels also good for a player's career?
Well,
That's yet to find.
apparently he was mad because he was yelling, he has been saying to Tua, you got to be more careful. And then Tua's like, fuck it, first down.
Fair enough.
I can get the first down, coach.
Lead with your head.
All right, next 1 o'clock game, we have the New York Football Giants are at home against the Houston Texans. What you think, Mr. Boosie?
You already know what I'm going to tell you. You don't even got to ask me this question. Dan, just put me down for the Giants for the rest of the year.
The rest of the year, just regardless who they're playing.
No. Yeah, no, but
Yeah.
I am going to take the Giants this week against the Houston Texans. This is a Houston Texans team that they don't come out and play.
Yeah,
They just
The only way this Texans team beats the Giants is if Dameon Pierce goes absolutely crazy, which he has done in a few games. I just don't think with the way the Giants play defense, they're going to get after Davis Mills. They're going to make him uncomfortable. They blitz a ton. Giants win.
Yeah, we do. That's the wink system, baby.
I'm also going to take the Giants. I really like the way the Giants have been playing this year, and I don't see the Texans as a team that's going to stumble the way the Giants stumble.
I actually have a Giants injury update.
Yeah, who's hurt?
Xavier McKinney. He hurt himself during the bye week.
Nice.
Nice.
He went on a vacation to Cabo and broke his hand in an ATV accident.
Sick. Sick.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice. Well, we'll see how that affects the Giants. The, the next 1 o'clock game, we talked about this one already. The Saints are traveling to what used to be known as Heinz Field. We're not calling it the new name. It's garbage. How you feel about Acrisure Stadium, Dan?
It's Heinz Field. Don't ever talk to me again about it. It's Heinz Field.
Ketchup Stadium.
No, but I like the Steelers. I like the Steelers this week. I think that the Saints have, the Saints got beaten down the past couple of games, and I think the Steelers definitely have a chance with TJ Watt coming back this week to kind of turn around and get a little bit of a win.
At this point, I keep riding the Saints, and they keep letting me down. So why not triple down and go Saints again? Let's go.
That's all I have to hear. That's all I have to hear.
I was thinking the same thing. If they don't win the first or second time, pick them a third time and see what happens. All right.
Why not? Why not?
Yeah, you can't be wrong 3 times.
You can't be wrong 3 times in a row, right?
So you going with the Saints, Mr. Boosie?
Yes, I am going to ride with the
Okay.
Saints on this. I think Alvin
Okay.
Kamara's going to have a big game if he shows up to play.
Okay. All right. The last team we have the Isle Dancers versus the Tennessee Titans. Because they had on that plane ride home, they were all doing high knees.
Oh, yeah.
Broncos country, let's ride.
Broncos country, we tried.
I'm actually going to take the Broncos here.
Ew.
I know it's a weird pick, but Malik Willis isn't playing. Jeffrey Simmons also probably won't play. He's in a boot. So, I think that this is like the Broncos' chance to, get a win against a little bit better of an opponent with some of these injuries that they have.
I think I'm in the same boat. Broncos defense has been good against the run. Malik Willis has not been able to pass the ball. I think this is a load the box. You let Pat Surtain lock down whoever's getting open the most for the Titans, whether it's Robert Woods or Westbrook Akeenum.
But you're gonna need a safety because they've only been targeting Hayden Hurst. They have not thrown to receivers.
Well, Hayden Hurst plays for the Bengals. I think you're talking about Austin Hooper.
Austin Hooper, yeah, whatever.
That's the one.
Same difference. Dude with flowy hair, catches football, is out of tight end position.
We're talking about Hawkinsock?
Yeah, same person.
Yeah.
like-
Oh, they're all the same. So they just play.
They're all the same guy?
It's like you ever see the joke where it's just like all the quarterbacks are really just Kirk Cousins. There's cousin Kirk Cousins. There's younger Kirk Cousins.
Well, don't forget George Kittle has long hair too.
Yeah, it's the same person exactly.
Oh, okay. I understand.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm kind of in the same boat. I think the Broncos defense is going to be able to give Derrick Henry some trouble, slow down this Titans team, and they're going to win a 12-9 game. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm also going to ride with you guys with the Broncos, but I still think Russell Wilson is going to play like a dumpster fire.
Oh, that's a given.
I
We
mean,
just
yeah.
we just think that Malik Willis is more of a dumpster fire right
Well,
now.
speaking of dumpster fires, the Colts are traveling to play the Raiders,
Oh, sweet. Okay, that's great. Grab your popcorn for this prime time
and
matchup.
Hunter Renfro and Darren Waller have been put on IR.
Nice.
Nice.
I actually like
Okay.
the Colts. I think this is gonna be Sam Ellinger's first win.
Okay.
I know
Yeah.
that's a wild
That's-
statement.
that's pretty whack.
Jeff Saturday's getting dubs.
Jeff Saturday. Yeah, I know
Hey,
he's not playing on Saturday, but shit, it's feeling like a Saturday.
He was quoted saying, "I played in the league for a long time, so I know what it takes to be a winner. So, if I'm not very good at coaching at the end of the year, I won't try to do it again."
Fair enough, I guess. At least he's honest with himself.
But it's a tough one.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a bad game.
Oh, it's gonna be
Yeah,
an
it's-
awful
It's gonna be
game.
an awful game.
Maybe even
Give
the
me-
fans of the teams don't even want to watch it.
Give
Like
me
I
the
don't.
Raiders. Give me the Raiders, but I don't like it.
Yeah, I'm also gonna go with the Raiders and not like it. I guess because this Colts team has just been so bad, and like sometimes the shuffling of the head coach makes the game plan a little worse that week because you were doing one thing, you had to do something entirely different for your system, whatever. But I guess I'll take Derek Vehicle on the Raiders.
All right.
Yeah. The next game we have two elite quarterbacks matching up.
Who?
Dallas Cowboys are traveling to Lambeau Field. Yeah.
Now I have to ask, what does
Tough
elite
one. Tough one.
mean?
Well, he is the back-to-back MVP,
Yeah, but like it looks like he's been on
and
all.
it's
it
looking
looks
like
been
he's
on a
gonna
trip all
he's gonna
year.
get the thruple.
It looks like he's been on a trip all year, man. He's not playing great.
Well, he went on a spiritual journey in the offseason.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
DMT means daddy makes touchdowns.
Daddy misses touchdowns
Daddy misses
because he
touchdowns.
threw multiple interceptions in the red zone.
Oh,
last
I
week.
saw that. I actually couldn't believe it. I was like, wow, they're on the goal line. They're gonna score. Pick Aaron Rodgers. What? Really? And I was like, okay, it happened once. It's not gonna happen again, right? Like next time down the
Twice.
field. Yeah. Like I was just dumbfounded.
Yeah.
I'm-
Not good.
I'm over Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, give
You're
me the
over Aaron
Cowboys.
Rodgers?
Cowboys defense is playing crazy. Aaron Rodgers is playing awful. Cowboys by 17.
All right.
17.
All
Okay.
right. Yeah, I'm definitely taking the Cowboys in this matchup. Fuck Aaron Rodgers. Fuck the Packers. I'm just done with them.
Wow, that seems pretty harsh. So you know what? Because of that, I'm going to take the Green Bay Packers over the Dallas Cowboys this week.
Say a
Nice.
wild statement, but we love it. We do
That's
love wild
biased Giants fan pick right there. All,
What are you
all you want to
talking
see
about?
is the Cowboys lose.
I don't know what you're talking about. I picked
Oh,
the
okay.
Commanders over the Eagles. What are you talking
Oh, okay. All right. Well, next game, the Cardinals. Oh, this is another good matchup.
game.
3
Yeah.
and 6 Cardinals are traveling to play the 3 and 5 Rams. Yeah.
But what is going on in the NFC West? Like
Oh, it's
Geno
all-
Smith is balling like a dog. The Rams aren't doing anything. The Cardinals are playing just as bad. San Francisco's kind of coming along. But what's going on here?
What's going on in the NFC?
Well, like all the bottom feeders from last year are like, oh, hey, yeah, we're 5 or 6 win teams this year, and all these teams, even the Super Bowl champions, like, yeah, we don't really want to play this year. We had enough success for the decade, so like we're just gonna take a break.
But anyway, coming back full circle, I'm actually gonna take the Rams in this matchup. I feel like there's just a little bit of disarray going on with the Cardinals right now, and I just don't like the team, and I really don't like this pick. I've already committed to the Rams, so that's what we're sticking with.
I'm gonna take them Birds. I'm gonna take them Cardinals because I think Budda Baker with his post game speech
He's hurt.
is gonna light a fire.
He's hurt.
Yeah, but he saw his post game speech.
Oh, his post-game speech.
So I think he's gonna light a fire into that team and make them play more hungry.
locker
Even though he's
room
not
vet.
gonna play. Yeah, he's gonna be that. He's gonna give him that locker room presence. He's gonna be that kind of like sideline players coach or whatever for the game. I think he's gonna get that team fired up. I think they're maybe gonna eat against the Rams. So I'm gonna take the Birds.
All right, JT.
Pass. Next question.
Oh, word. Okay.
You can't pass. I need a team or a tie. I need something.
me the
JT, you
Cardinals.
can pick a tie.
Give me
You
the
can pick a
Cardinals.
tie
No,
if
they're
you'd
not
like.
tying. They're not tying. No, just give me the Cardinals. Once again, just like the Saints, I've rode them back-to-back weeks. They've let me down back-to-back weeks. Fuck it, we're going 3 in a row. Let's go.
Triple down.
Okay.
Welcome to the losing club, Dan.
All right. Bring us,
Sunday night football game. We have Chargers at San Francisco 49ers. Give me the Niners. I think the Niners are trending upward right now.
yeah, I like the Niners too. I think that the Chargers have seemed a little slow and they haven't gotten anyone back that they really need yet. So I like the way the 49ers have been playing. I like the action, like electricity. Give me the 49ers.
I think this game is going to come down to how the linebackers can defend the electric running backs. And whenever I look at the linebacker cores, San Francisco's got the clear edge with Fred Warner, so I'm going to go with the Niners as well. CMC is going to give that Chargers linebacking core some headaches because they can't guard him.
Okay. All right. Well, the last game, Monday Night Football, Bruce has already made his pick. He's taking the Commanders over the Eagles. Who are you
I
taking,
am
Dan?
in fact taking the Commanders over the Eagles.
Uh,
Wild statement out here.
I'm taking the Eagles minus 15.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, give me the Eagles again. First matchup, they won 24-8. Wasn't a close game. I think the Commanders are not playing better since then. Give me the Eagles.
Taylor Heineke isn't going to help him out that much better than Carson Wentz did.
No, but he did get a pair of
Great.
Packers colored Jordans
Yeah.
after he
is
beat
Oh,
the
yeah.
Packers.
Did
Yeah.
he?
That's
so
what he's doing now. Is
that's what he
after
did.
each win.
He did it last season.
Yeah.
Yeah. After each win, he buys a Jordan in that colorway of the team he beat.
Why?
Because
What?
the way his contract is set up with every game that he plays 60% of the snaps, and if he wins, he gets like a 250K bonus.
Oh,
So then he just uses that bonus to buy a pair of Jordans as part of that. He doesn't
think-
pay 250K for a pair of Jordans.
Okay, I was
but-
just be like, what the hell? It's like he's spending 250K each win on a pair of
No,
Jordans. I was
no,
like,
no,
what
no,
are
no,
they
no.
made of?
But that's just that's what he spends some of the money on.
Yeah, he bought
oh, okay.
he bought the Oregon Duck, like I think what was it? Were they Jordan 5s?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that's what they were. Yeah, he bought those.
sweet.
And then at the press conference, he walked in and then he put his feet up on the
On the
the
table.
next day up on the table, so the entire reporting room could see that he was wearing, the Packard color Jordans.
He walked over the Packers. Might as well walk on them again, I guess. Like,
Yeah. Hey, if you like the pod, hit the like button, subscribe. We appreciate it. This has been the Boys and Ball podcast. Wow.